Together, growing in faith, changing communities.
If you, oh Lord, had never been with us, are you aware, Uguchi, the mere fact that we're here, it means we survived COVID? We could have died. We could have died. Are you aware the mere fact we're here, we survived the floods? We could have died. Namhla Nkosi siyamangala uma sibe on the Gospel of John chapter 11. And you know this so well. There are a few things that I would like us to look into. John chapter 11 from verse 24. Martha goes to Jesus, and the opening words she says in verse 21, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Lord, if you have been here, my mother will not have died. Lord, if you have been here, my father will not have died. Lord, if you have been here, my sister will not have died. Lord, if you have been here, my child will not have died. I continue to say that death is probably the most painful realities that we'll ever have to face in our lives. We go through a roller coaster of emotions. We can be upset. We can be angry. We can be frustrated. We can be confused. We can be lost. Often at times I've heard people say, when so and so died, a part of me died with him or her. I've heard people say, when so and so died, I was lost. I just didn't know what else to do. I've heard people say when so and so died, it's like the mat was pulled, the rug was pulled right beneath our feet. The very same person who was the source of unity, who was the pillar of strength, has died. And when death happens, it's like we are robbed of many great moments. You know, we grow up and we say, when I graduate, I want so and so to be around. When I get my first check, I want so and so to celebrate it with me. When I go through issues, I know what I did in the past. I'll pick up the phone, I'll call, and so will be around. And now I'm sad. How do you deal with loss? Psalm 137, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat and wept. Our captors asked us to sing a song, and we said, how can we sing the song of the Lord in a foreign land? How can you ask me to pray when the one I love is dead? How can you ask me to trust God when the one I love is dead? How do you expect me to continue? It's a reality. The one I love is dead. In the physical sense, I'll never be able to see that smile, to look into those eyes and to get the embrace. Sometimes ngikhumbula nokuthetha kwakhe, neconsi lakhe, but I miss no thando lwakhe. Because at least I knew ukuthi she cared, she loved me, was important again. So the first thing that I want us to do as we pray for those who have died is to acknowledge the loss. And your loss is your loss. It's our loss in many ways, but in a very particular way, it's yours. There can never be another mother, another father, another child, another sibling like the one you've lost. And at times we need to sit with this loss, with this reality, without running away from it. NgesiZulu sithi sibhonge emswaneni. Uyabona makhona inkomo elimele la yashonela la, ezinye ziyeza, and the moment zaluka ubuswane ziyabhonga. Now if animals can grieve, if Jesus can cry, why should you not be doing it? And we grieve differently. For some, when they lost their loved ones, their lifestyle changed. Probably it was someone who supported you, who believed in you, who longed for your success. And now, akasekho omunye umuntu who celebrates you. Akasekho omunye umuntu okunakekela ngendlela abekunakekela ngayo. You probably are feeling hurt, angry, frustrated, and lost. And I want to say that's normal. Don't feel bad about that. It's your right to be angry at God. But don't stay too long in that anger. It's not healthy for you. It's all right to be frustrated. But don't stay too long. It's not healthy for you. There are few things that Jesus does when he gets into the house of Martha and Mary. The first one, he asked them, "Where have you laid him? Where is Lazarus?" And that's the first question. Where is the source of your pain? Yes, the source of the pain stems from I've lost someone. But the source of the pain stems from because I've lost someone, this and this no longer exist. So the first thing, where is the source of your pain? Jesus asked, "Where have you put him?" And the sibling says, "Lord, it has already been 4 days." My dear brothers and sisters, I don't believe that time heals. There's no time frame for healing. Time only gives us time to deal with whatever is going on. There are people who've lost their jobs. There are people who've lost their homes, their cars, their possessions, their businesses. We've gone from COVID to looting, from looting to the floods, from the floods to unemployment. People are hurting. People have lost a lot. And so Ngcobo esiza kuyona, the Lord bandages our wounds. Even though there may be people who say, "But it's already 4 days, why waste your time?" I remember I did a funeral because of the floods. There was a mudslide and there were about 4 people in the house. The husband and the wife both died instantly. A daughter was still alive, so she runs into the bedroom of her parents. She realizes that both of them are dead. Then she runs. She had a friend who had come to visit. She goes and she looks for a friend, and the friend is still alive. And the rescue team comes. But when they get there, the friend is stuck. And the mud is still around. And the rescue team says, "We cannot save him. Because if we come and rescue him, we are putting our lives in danger. Let's leave him. In any case, he's going to die. Let's go and help someone else." And the girl says, "I cannot do that. I can't leave him." And so she runs in the mud with everything around and nails, and she's bruising, and she begs them and she cries out and she says, don't leave him. But you know the sad part, the young men can hear what they say. And he continues to live with the reality that they wanted to leave me to die. And the girl screams and shouts and begs, and eventually they rescue the man. They celebrated Mass, and there were 2 coffins. The family was there, the young man was there. And he said, my coffin would have been here if she did not fight for me. The mere fact that you're here, it's by grace. But I also acknowledge that, but I should have died as well. I should have died with my baby. I should have died with him. I should have died with her. Because and the only reason why they say that it's because the pain is unbearable. And I want to say today, this too shall pass. It's too much. It's painful. It doesn't make sense. But it will pass. It's not that we will forget. No. But the pain will be bearable. I always go back to the basic reason why I remained a Catholic priest. It's because of my grandmother. She died in 1995. My grand had a stroke in 1994. On the 30th of March, in the afternoon, she was rushed into hospital. Exactly on the 30th of March, 1995, she had a second stroke, and she didn't make it. And I remember I was still coming back from school. And when I came back from school, they just didn't know how to say it. But eventually they told me that she's dead. She's gone. And there's never been a day that goes by without me wishing she was still alive. But to a great degree, and it's an irony, she's more powerful to me now than before. She has opened doors and places and things beyond my imagination. And I want her to be among those who fetch me when I die. Now there are only 3 people that I want to fetch me when I die. It's my grand, Our Lady, and Jesus. The rest, sebengayizela. But bakhona laba bobathathu. Then I know uNkulunkulu. And so what I want to say is that death is painful, but there's hope in the resurrection. There's this great hope ukuthi siyohlangana kwelizayo. Lapho inyembezi seyisuliwe. And esibabona manje in the world of the spirit, siyobabona enyameni. Uthi nathi leli khehla elalingisanganisa nangu logogo owayengisanganisa naba labantu ababevuka benza izinto, and we will see this beautiful amahwanqa amakhehla izalukwazi. I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait to be in a room full of these great ancestors of ours. Ngike ngihlale namakhehla ngithi mkhulu kwakwenze njani masiwenza ukuthi. Athi mzukulu phela ngase ngifikile ngase ngifuna mkhulu kwakwenze njani uwenze. Athi mzukulu mina ngangenza ukuthi no. I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait to see impunga efakwe ngiyane. I cannot wait to see izalukwazi ezithina sihlale ezibeni woza mzukulu uzodla amasi. I cannot wait to see athi mzukulu thina singena nesibani ezibeni singathini. I cannot wait for that. St. Paul says, I wish I was dead, but I also enjoy being here. I continue to tell you, I lived in Chatsworth for 7 years. I stayed with a great man, Emmanuel de Passos, Father de Passos. And I learned a lot from that man. He says, Baba, I wish I was dead. I said, but why, Baba? And he says, because more than half the people I've known are now dead. You know, we will go into an ordination or into a priestly function or event, and they will be asking me, Baba, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? And I will explain to him, no, this is so and so. And he says, you know what? More than half these guys, I no longer know them. I said, all those I've known are dead. And sometimes I look at them and I say, imagine someone, I just buried the last of my grandparents, uNkulunkulu. I buried him a couple of months ago. And uNkulunkulu is the youngest. His mother died when he was still a young boy. uNkulunkulu had lived up to 80, close to 90. And imagine, he hadn't been with his mother and father for the past 60 years. 60. And now all of us are crying, uNkulunkulu is gone. But imagine the excitement in Mazuma. Wow. The last born. Imagine that. There was a beautiful poster that they had done when uhlanga lomhlabathi lishona. Do you remember that poster? It was like there were staircases. And wawubona amakhosi onke akaZulu umbona uBridget ube siqiwile suku mehamba. I cannot wait for that. To actually see them welcoming you and say, come back home. Death is a loss for us, but it is a gain to the other world. It's like giving birth. As we cry here because we've lost, but on the other side, they welcome this new person and they say, we've been waiting for you. The last word I want to say, when Jesus gets into the tomb, there are 3 actions that he does. The first one, he rolls over the stone. The second one, he calls out Lazarus by name. The third one, he instructs those around the dead man who's now alive. Briefly, he rolled over the stone. Is there something that weighs heavily on your heart? Because of this death. Roll over the stone. Lazarus would not have come out if the stone was still there. Khona ezinye izinto ekumele sidlulise, khona ezinye izinto ekumele siguqule. Yes, we can ask, but where was God? We can blame it and say, but I prayed. But those things will not help us anymore. Secondly, he calls him by name. Lazarus, come out. Khona inkonzo yokumenyezwa. And so uNkulunkulu uthi mase ibonile intombi wayishela ayikwazi ukungamqomi intombi. And so too, your loved one who has died, sebemshelile waqola. The last word, uthi uNkulunkulu, unbind him and let him go. It took me years to ever let go of my grand. She had died. I didn't cry at the funeral. I looked at them and I spoke. I was strong. So I thought. It took me years. Till one day, I had a breakdown. And there was one word that made me have a breakdown. The counselor said to me, it's time to bury her now. And I said, I'm not burying her. And I realized I had not buried her for years. Healing is a process, but it's important to bury them and to let them go. Just because I let them go, it doesn't mean I no longer love them. It doesn't mean I forget about them. It doesn't mean I don't cherish them anymore. But it is a process where I allow them to be more powerful in my life. Indlovukazi yezulu ayibe nathi sibusise isivikele isikhanyisele. Sinika amandla nomusa nothando negrasiya ngeke bakulayise benendodana nomoya ogcweleyo. Amen.